I don't know. We're going to see now. They have to get it, but maybe they don't play it again. I'm going to check that.
I actually don't recall CDEC playing Naga at all.
Me neither. That's why.
This is actually...
this is so smart. All right.
Oh, okay. What work on Lina?
Yeah,
Naga
has to be the Naga.
Naga plus Gyro. Oh, no.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But the fact that he hesitates, though, maybe he feels, well, Clockwork, they got it, so...
Yeah, Clock and Lina are picked. There's only really, you know, there's not many high-tier picks over Naga, so...
What you also do in those games is that you just use the time that you have before the extra time, so that's why he wasn't probably hesitating, he knew, but he's just using extra time to think about the next plan or the next picks. So I have to say, that is right here, a demonstration of how good PPD is as a drafter. This is so smart. And they did their homework about CDEC.
10 seconds
we can just go through that again to mention it. Like, they took the first pick this time when they got the choice instead of taking Dire. And they knew that Leshrac and Techie were going to get banned out. So that guarantees them to pick Naga, and he also studied his opponents.
And I have the confirmation by Nox that, shout out to him by the way with the stats, that CDEC haven't picked Naga at all this patch.
Yeah. And I think every time they've lost, other than the Techies games, they've lost to a team with Nagasarian.
Exactly. They've lost plenty of games against Naga.
The Virtus Pro in the group stages as well.
And we can probably explain why they
I think one to eHome as well.
They even lost to Vega in the qualifier. So we can, in the wildcard, I mean, we can probably explain to people why is Naga so good versus CDEC. Because that non-stop aggression, that tempo, you can break it if they actually, at some point, they dive too far or they go for the aggression and they get team wiped. Then the whole game is going to be different for them. If they can't actually take the fights because they fed too many kills, then their whole game plan falls apart. And Naga is one of those heroes where you can actually get a 4-man sit. It happened in the CS versus EG, and everyone was like, all right, this is game. DC is going to lose that game. And then there was this turnaround in the fights. Of course, if that doesn't happen, I feel like Naga is one of the best heroes against CDEC.
Yeah, the point is not even just that you know, manage to sleep a lot of opponents. It's like when they dive you under tower, which they will at some point, you can sleep them and get plenty of time to set up so that you have 5 people there. Because that's really the biggest game right here, having the numbers and being ready for the rotations.
But at the same time, now they have Lina for Shiki, which, I mean, in the first 3 games, Shiki didn't really deliver. And I think his Lina is a completely different story. He is super comfortable with the hero. He played it before Lina was super popular in 6.84C, and he should probably crush him with lane, or at least break even.
Just a small stat of note, Lina is now confirmed as the most played hero at TI5 in 2015. 2 clear of Gyro, which
5 seconds
has been picked in this game, but we only have 1 more, so that's Lina confirmed.
Yeah, and Shiki has played plenty of Lina even here at the main event. He played it against Cloud9 when they snapped his courier, and still he managed to win his lane despite not having the salve delivered. So he's a very solid mid laner, and Lina is so strong.
But at the same time, it does leave Sumail's TA open, and that's really dangerous for CDEC, especially if they're on Dire. If they're Dire and they can't control Roche, I think they just straight lose to EG.
And Storm. They didn't ban Storm this time. They removed the Darkseer, removed the Shadow Fiend, but they left a Storm who I feel is one of the few really good heroes against Lina, because you can jump her and vortex her before you land so that you can kill her.
Yeah, but they are actually banning towards the lineup that EG have. Darkseer and Shadow Fiend work better with what they have compared to Storm, so...
That's true.
I think it's fair that they actually took that route instead of taking out the Storm.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That does leave EG with that option though, and CDEC still taking their time about this 3rd pickup here.
I think we could even see an Enigma from EG later on in the game. If they feel like they can get away with it, it could be one of those heroes, but then CDEC can't be aggressive versus such a lineup.
Yeah, of course, the sleep into Black Hole is terrifying. It's so hard to push high ground against as well. You have to have someone who can kind of solo go up there, and that's not really what CDEC draft. It's not their style of draft.
The contrast in the pods right now is very interesting. They're smiling, laughing, talking inside the EG pod. In the CDEC, it's a little bit more tense.
10 seconds to pick.
Probably for the first time I've seen them in the tournament.
It makes a lot of sense.
They felt a lot of pressure.
5 seconds.
Sebastian mentioned before, they are getting cornered by mostly the draft and picking sides. Like PPD is just doing a much better job than them.
Yeah, I mean, playing Dota, you can play as well as you want, but you need to have a solid draft, especially at this level. It's super important. You cannot be stressed enough.
As the Storm you predicted.
Booyah! Well, the Storm always going to be a strong hero for EG. I don't even think it matters that much if their lineup fully synergizes with the Storm. Sumail is just that good at playing it, and he has Radiant as well. It's much easier to play Radiant Storm than Dire Storm because of the mid lane and the terrain. Harder to get ganked.
But he's up against a Lina though, and Wyvern maybe with the early game can actually help the Lina a lot in the lane. But then again, we saw him getting shut down in the previous games, and he still gets back on top.
Makes me think of Dazzle for EG, or PL coming out again for these CDEC. I think they might want Dancel so they can secure the early game here. They also have Naga Siren in their team, so if they want to, they have the heal combination, and they can also make sure that Storm doesn't get completely harassed by Lina. Question is though, if they want to draft more into their combo, because Dazzle wouldn't do much for the...
you can't deal with PL as Dazzle, and you need to rely on the other heroes also. That might be something that PPD is considering, and you might want to go for a support. Yeah, Earthshaker deals with PL much better than the Dazzle. You have some AoE lockdown, and overall works very well with the Naga song as well.
I think it's safe to say that it's going to be an offlane Shaker, and most likely a Naga. Since I don't think like Shaker and Naga.
Oh, it's AoE Naga for sure.
On support.
No,
I know, but I mean,
he's talking about
Naga support.
Yeah,
I think it's
Shaker offlane.
I mean, we could, because indeed PPD plays Shaker and AoE plays Naga, but I think this support duo is actually quite bad.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't work in this meta, at least this patch. No, I believe it's offlane Shaker for sure. That way you also get more levels and experience than you would if you were a support. You could get more as support, but you don't have time to pull all the time. You need to roam, you need to be present on the map. So, Dazzle gets banned out actually by EG here, scared of the Phantom Lancer combo.
The CM was a really good ban, honestly. I think EG
would have been the perfect pick.
Yeah, would have been the perfect pick for them with the Storm.
Oh yeah, and against the PL would have been so good. Even against the Winter Wyvern, you can't save people with Cold Embrace against that lineup. Any draft you favor more right now, Merlin, or are you kind of neutral?
10 seconds to what PPD's pick is. We've seen some.
Brood is still in the pool, by the way.
5
I don't know
seconds.
If it's a danger for one of those teams, but it's still in.
For CDEC,
I guess EG
reserve time.
I think I like EG's draft a little bit more, especially if they go for like, I don't know, an Omni Knight or something less pick, something that just like completely counters their Wyvern. But I don't know. I think the Naga Siren in the hands of Evil Genius is really, really strong. Oh, still the possibility of CDEC grabbing another hero for Shiki. Garter plays a very good Lina, so we should not forget that. They could just grab like even a TA mid this game. I think CDEC are putting a lot of thought into this.
Wouldn't you think if it's a TA mid that they actually have a harder time in the early game? Like Lina is much stronger like at controlling and dealing damage. If it's a TA, they don't have that much burst until PL or TA gets more items.
I think it becomes a better solution for a lot of their hard parts right now though. It's better against Roshan. It's better at running in against the Shaker in the team fights. And it just deals, well, it depends what they would last pick if they go for Lina mid, right?
My only issue with TI is like I feel like they lack a frontliner.
Okay. So it is a support Lina, and it's going to be a frontliner as he called for.
Yeah, I think it's important for them to have something that tanks that, because EG they have a lot of burst damage early on. Like you can't just show under the, or just go on them. You're just gonna get bursted down by just a Fisher, cooldown, or whatever they decide to use against you.
We missed calling that as well. They needed one more good stun against Storm because they have Winter's Freeze, but that was the only thing. Now they have Dragon Tail.
DK is a very solid pickup for them. It's just scary to lane DK versus Storm, but
5 seconds. Hurry!
I think it's also a really good pick because they can force Naga out of her comfort zone. Ideally with Naga, you want to sleep, reset, and then take a fight a few minutes later where you have Song up again. But Dragon Knight, you can't do that. The DK ultimate lasts so long that if you try and sleep and ignore the fight, you're just wasting your own ultimate. And they can just keep taking towers and towers and towers without utilizing Naga to her full potential.
I think this is a very beautiful draft by Q, actually. I think it synchronizes well in the early game, good team fight, and the late game is really strong as well. And they countered the Storm, so this is quality drafting by both teams.
But it's a tough lane for it.
I kind of like Cuddle for EG. I don't know if it's something they didn't pick it so much this tournament too. AUI knows how to play it, obviously he played it a lot, but I think it could be a good pickup for them.
Last time the DK came out on Shiki was against EG.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he lost that, of course.
The Techies game.
I'm actually still considering...
I remember that game.
It was the Techies game as well, yeah.
I'm still considering the possibilities of the ES as a support right now. It doesn't feel like they have a very good pick here. So it'll be...
It's a scary thing to have versus PL, but could really work with DK.
2 quality drafts by both captains. of both teams. It's time for game number 4 as we head back to the arena with your commentary team, Toby1 and Syndren.
Game 4 is correct. The International 5 Grand Final. Not only money at stake, but also the pride of taking home the Aegis and the title of the best team for 2015. That's what the International's all about. And CDEC, they're now one step behind EG in achieving that title.
Yeah, they've got a lot of their comfort picks this time around, though. They did manage to grab their Phantom Lancer. They got Shiki's Dragon Knight. But I'm with the panel. I'm surprised they let the Storm Spirit through and that they're letting EG have it in this game. It seems like a really good Storm Spirit game. I think Sumail is going to have a very easy lane. I think he has a lot of easy targets he can just jump on. Lina is going to be fragile. She's a support. Same goes for Q on the Wyvern. I have a feeling EG are feeling pretty confident going into this game. I feel like pretty good. They're up one game. I personally favor their draft, unless if CDEC get off to a really good start and start taking towers with Dragon Knight.
And, CDEC actually have a lot of things they can work with in the early phases. Because if they do get a good start, if you look for maybe the more aggressive DK we've been seeing throughout TI5, which is with the Blink Dagger for the Dragon Knight, so you're able to jump in, you get that initiation, maybe Gata in combination with the Wyvern, where you have Curse as well as that Laguna Blade. Storm Spirit jumps in, you instantly control, you instantly nuke him down, and then the rest of the work has to be done by EG. Like, there's a lot of things that CDEC can work with, and then you've still got Aggressive's PL. Never underestimate his Phantom Lancer.
EG have beaten it today, though. It's
they have.
To keep in mind, Aggressive did lose his first PL game.
30 seconds.
I will not deny that one. At the same time, with so much on the line, you can succumb to pressure every now and then. So our early laning phase is going to be pretty passive again, primarily just because we're just waiting for the runes right now. But Sumail, you say you should be having a very easy lane up against the DK. How does CDEC now try and counter this? Do you rotate more supports in?
They could look to gank him early on, but they can't focus on him too much because then we get a situation similar to game 1 where they're emphasizing the mid lane so much that EG just stack the jungle a lot and Sumail comes back that way. In a way, the most important thing for them is to secure the PL his farm and make sure Clockwork gets level 6 so that they have some sort of counter initiation when Storm just jumps on his target. A Blink Dagger on DK and a Clock Hook are decent tools at dealing with Sumail in the mid game. It's not going to be easy for Dragon Knight. He's not even going to get a one-on-one lane. It's going to be a 2-on-2.
AUI is going to add a little bit more pressure up against Shiki in the early stages. And what's Gata really going to do against this as well? Like, he wants to come in close, but then he's going to be the one to get riptided up and just forced out of the lane. But we've got the bottle already arriving for the Dragon Knight, so this is fine. The DK is just able to farm with most, like, Breathe Fire, harass into Sumail. It's not like it's a Templar Assassin who's going to have defensive refraction charges that can avoid the damage as well. So that's fine, and both teams are looking to now do their pulls. The Observe Ward's already up for EG, which is also blocking up the pull point. This Sentry Ward is only millimeters away from actually getting the D Ward out. And on top of that, CDEC can't even pull the side camp because that's also blocked up by another Sentry Ward. There's just no way for CDEC to throttle this lane out and stop Universe from finding experience. And now you should actually probably, like, what even do? You've committed one of your Sentry Wards. How do you even stop this now?
I think they might need to smoke and look to rotate and gank the mid lane first. And then if that gank is successful, they can buy sentries and maybe go back up and pull. But this is definitely not a good start for them.
Oh. While PPD is able to do his pull on the bot lane.
They actually gave the other sentry to XZ. That's why they can't counter the Observer Ward. With one sentry, there is a risk you don't find it. And the one he has placed for the Rune Ward isn't really doing anything.
Battery Assault of PPD. Does he have enough life to survive this? He went Chilling Touch to start with, and Fear is making his way over, and this Rocket Barrage will be forcing Clockwork out if he kept pushing it out. But at the same time, he realized now there's a Regeneration Rune at bottom. Pick that one up and be good to go.
Regeneration!
And Dragon Knight got the top rune. This means no rune for Sumail this time. He's just going to Bottle Crow.
At the same time, Sumail has completely crushed this lane. He's 14-8 up against 5-0 on the CS. This Dragon Knight has found no space whatsoever.
It is a very difficult lane for Dragon Knight. This is nothing out of the ordinary. Although Shiki, in other matchups, he's played like Dragon Knight versus Shadow Fiend, I think, where he did exceptionally well. But Sumail Storm is very difficult to play a melee hero against here in the lane. So he's going to be getting 9 CS here if he gets both of them, which it looks like he will. There we go. So he's 9 against 17. That is definitely not that good, but it's to be expected. Also with AUI putting a little bit of pressure in there with the Naga. It's also denied him a bit of CS.
Should also flag the fact that CDEC is starting to stack up inside their camps. So we've got a triple stack inside the Dire jungle, which will be flash farmed up later. And DK is able to do that one. Lina would obviously help out with Light Strike Array and give her burst in levels. And then you can see that Laguna Blade coming on a little bit earlier. And also the Dragon Knight progression of items coming a lot faster too. That's something the Storm Spirit can do, but currently there's actually one stack in the lane, in the jungle, so that's fine. Actually, there's 2 of them. So there's 2 double stacks available for Evil Geniuses. I'm going to keep my eyes on that one, considering what happened last time we had our Storm Sumail. And Universe has also managed to find a lot of levels. Both the Clockwork as well as the Earthshaker. Like we've got 3 on the Clockwork, 4 over on the Earthshaker. And in fact, Universe completes his Soul Ring as well. This will stop practically any push in the lane. And he's actually using the Fissure as well to block up his creep wave for the moment. It's actually not going to stop the balance of the lane, because the catapult's still in there.
This early game laning stage definitely favoring EG. It's what they want. If they can get a slow laning stage where both their AA and their Naga Siren can pull and get experience, and the enemy team can't, and they have a favorable matchup mid, and they have free farm on Fear, and they're getting a lot of experience on Universe, this is exactly as planned for Evil Geniuses. Well, they still need to be careful, of course, as heroes start to go missing, and they don't really know exactly what the supports of the Dire are doing, so Universe is going to stand far back, and now they do. Again, they actually still have that ward, which is giving them so much information. If they smoke now, that would be a pretty big mistake. They obviously realize that is not the play to make right now, as their camp is still blocked. It has to be an Observer ward. They just pick it up on Garter, who's probably going to stack, and then maybe they will look to make their play. And it's not like they're falling very far behind on gold. The experience is 1,000, which is decent. It's just the implications on the game. Like it's playing into EG's hand, I feel.
But it's what all that burst gold's going to do for them. And we talk about it being 1,000 gold. In fact, the net worth is 100% less on 0, and the experience is just up for EG. But it's once you take out the quad as well as the trip stack, it's very simple for the DK. Then, well, he's already got level 6. He can add pressure in towards the tower. There's things which CDEC can do. They don't just have to sit in the back lines and wait it out until EG make a play before Sumail with his level 6 tries to make a bit of a jump, which is also possible. But another reason too why CDEC cannot fight. You don't have level 6 over on XE, so there's no Clockwork hook shot up just yet. The Lina is in no position to get in and start any kind of engagement. She's still waiting for the DK to come up and flash farm. Then they can give the space to Winter Wyvern so he can get up to his curse, his level 6. All right, so we got the double quad stack straight to be farmed. This should be really quick and fast levels for Garda and really good money for CDEC.
They're going to need to wait for another Breathe Fire to do this one. And at the same time, for Evil Geniuses, they do their quad stack. They give it to Fear, actually. I thought they were going to give it to Sumail, but he takes the other big camp, which I do believe was just a double. That's going to push them both forward very nicely for some good experience here. And gold, of course. And what did Garter accomplish? He got level 3 from that stack. Okay, there's still a little bit of it left. He's going to get 3.5.
Radiant's top tower is under siege.
And this was only one of the stacks that CDEC prepared. So they can do the other one. The issue is Shiki doesn't have any more mana for it.
And it's double gold, so it's going to take them forever. They actually got pretty unlucky there on the RNG. Aggressive's finding good farm though. So this is the standard start that CDEC have been aiming for whenever they have their PL. They just want Aggressive to have a one-on-one in the safe lane, their supports to move. Now because they couldn't pull, the supports came online later than they wanted, and that's why the first blood is being delayed here. The question is if they're happy with the situation. Like once again, it's pretty much dead even. No one's making big progress. You've just got that feeling that EG are more happy and more comfortable with a slow played game. We're used to see so much aggression out from CDEC, but it seems like throughout the series, the further we got into the series, the later they found kills, the less effective their smokes were. And we've reached a point now where we don't even have a first blood 7.5 minutes in.
which is really uncommon for this tournament.
Yes.
Almost every single first blood has happened before the 10-minute mark. The TI5, everyone's been looking for that early aggression, that early movement.
Most of the time, we've even had 3 kills before.
That's true.
At least, like sometimes even like 7 or 8 kills, which is a little unusual.
But the only way it's going to happen this time around is if Sumail gets this combo. He just bottled up a haste rune, goes up to full, and also gets himself a regeneration rune. So he's able to run both of them at the same time. And a hero like a Winter Wyvern is practically free gold when you have something like this. He just needs to CQ moving around, which he doesn't. Actually, now he gets a quick glimpse of the wings. But diving underneath the tier 1 tower is always dangerous when you go up against multiple stuns. And the clockwork's rotated, so he has his level 6 up and running. Hook shots available, and it looks like CDEC are looking to do something, but this Naga illusion could spoil the fun.
Yeah, they're going to run into a safe position before they use their first smoke. Still not using it, though.
They're back a very long way. It's like they want to have, they want to have Wyvern as well. So the perfect timing to have that Winter's Curse.
Radiant's top tower is under siege.
And they're going to loop themselves into the mid. At the same time, EG had exactly the same thought. It's going to be smoke on smoke. The smoke will break, and Fear's going to have that call down. The Fissure going to keep Dragon Knight out with a Rock of Mirage. The hook shot coming in with Sumail. Will take the first blood. Isolated XC inside of his own cogs, and Sumail jumps over him again. They managed to hold Clockwork in position of Fear. The Rock of Mirage doing some work with the instead. Gunner wants the TP out. They don't have enough damage to kill both of them. Earthshaker commits the Echo Slam to ensure the kill. Meanwhile, Aggressive almost finishing up this tier 1 tower, but EG just move themselves up. Sumail has got another jump up his sleeve, but they can just be happy with denying up the tower and having the first blood go out before the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, that was really good timing.
Has been
EG outnumbering them there, 5-4. With PL just being busy in the top lane. He's going to have very early boots of travel, though, if he wants to buy them now. This is 9:30. At the same time, I'm a little bit surprised Q didn't try to get off the Winter's Curse at least and see where if they could make anything out of it. Like, just keeping it on cooldown here, sure, it's 110 seconds to level 1, but the chance that he'll be able to use it within the next minute and a half is probably not that high. And when the smoke broke, I guess they didn't have uphill vision, because then he could have caught a 3-hero curse.
Correct.
And EG just taking advantage of their superior positioning with that smoke rotation.
The one observer ward they did have was sitting over the top rune. That's the reason why they couldn't see far enough over. So EG, it was the perfect time. The two smoked armies meeting up against each other. If CDEC were only, do you dare say if they didn't wait for the Wyvern, they would have been there 10 seconds earlier and they probably would have been able to get into a better position. But we can judge everything from an armchair later on. Now hook shot from XC, gonna miss on Aoi. And they'll just back it up. Very, very simple escape. And Aggressive moves down the bottom lane. There's more fun to be had here, and he doesn't want to let Fear feel comfortable. And he did buy those very early BTs with the classic Mango. And even EG, like stacks are always wonderful. But Fear's got 3 points up in flat cannon, rapidly approaching his 4th point now. And the Ancients actually failing on this stack. But there's already a lot of granite golems as well as lizards and black dragons inside that. Fear's going to get a big injection of money.
Dire's middle
and if you look at the Dire side, you have a completely free-farming PL who has not contributed to fights yet. He's still 1,000 gold behind the enemy mid laner. That's just the first 2 kills. I think Sumail got the first blood. He got an assist. They got all the stacks in the jungle, and this means that this investment from CDEC isn't really yielding anything just yet. It's basically playing a tie game.
Dire's structures are fortified.
I think EG have some decent counters to appeal, but here we go. This is the CDEC we know.
Yep.
Dire's middle tower taking
damage. They just moved from tower to tower. But EG saw this coming, so they just backed up. They didn't want to have a bar of it. They leave AUI to farm up the top lane so we can try and get up to his level 6. Sumail has a little bit of pressure to mid. But CDEC are just so quick at doing this that there is no reaction that can come from EG, which will result in a tier 1 tower dropping. And this is their power. I guess not even like the chip play you play with the Dragon Knight, where you attack at the tower, you slowly let it just tick out, while the other 4 create a little bit of troubles. Love that pop sound. The gyrocopter. When you got that many Ancients, the more creeps there are for the flat cannon, the louder the sound goes.
Just in case you didn't know what was going on, you could definitely hear what's going on.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked.
CDEC, though, are not in any real position where they can fight, but I am looking at that Dragon Knight with 1,700 gold, and it does look like he's saving up for that Blink Dagger.
It's got to be Blink, and then they'll be looking for fights and pickoffs. Now the question is, with that coming out, say, around minute 14 to 15, they have enough fighting power. There is now a drum and aggressive.
Wyvern, you didn't really want to do that. He threw down an Observer Ward, but it's in range of the Sentry Ward. So this Observer Ward's going to get de-warded out very quickly.
Yeah, AUI is going to find it now.
Yep. Well, they're going to give the money over to PPD. Wants to buy himself something nice. And Fear will mop up the rest of the camp, while CDEC is actually becoming really troublesome. When they start losing Observer Wards like this, they just don't have vision across the map. Right now, there's only one Dire Observer Ward which is in existence, and it's sitting watching that top rune. It's the only one they've got. While EG have their wards a little bit more sporadically placed. There's one that's watching the top rune, and there's one that's watching the mid lane. Both are able to see the rotations.
This has got to be one of the fastest Bloodstones of the tournament, or at least the main event. Sumail gets it at, I think it was 13:35 or something like that. And of course, the reason he gets it so early is that he skipped the treads. And it just, that really shows you how EG are thinking in this game, right? If they wanted to fight, he would have gone for his treads build-up. But they're just playing a slow farming game. They're just looking at efficiency. Of course, Bloodstone is so good for Storm Spirit to just ramp up his farm. Even though you don't have that attack speed from the treads, it's still, you just use Static Remnant instead and clear camps faster.
EG's coming to fight. Clockwork gonna luckily walk himself up onto the high ground, but unfortunately for the Wyvern, there's a fissure, there's a Sumail jump in, as well as the Ice Blast from PPD. Very heavy commitment just for a kill over on a Wyvern. Now, CDEC might be happy to try and counter-initiate. You've got Hookshot also available. Dragon Forms up, Laguna Blades are also available for the Lina. And the side lanes are pushing, and AUI is still hovering around on that top lane. He can just TP Song of the Siren in if things get rough, though. And maybe that's why CDEC should be a little bit more cautious. Because that Song of the Siren will allow EG just to reset.
But they can't just sit back, I think. Like, they have their key items now. They have the Blink on Dragon Knight, they have the drum, as well as the Boots of Travel on PL. This is when they want to fight, usually.
Yep, and they're going to. They throw down the Sentry Ward. They checked up on the hill to see if there was an Observer Ward. And now we'll move into the Radiant jungle. The only hero they saw was Fear on the bot lane, as well as, again, this Naga Siren, who's been giving all this free space in the world on the top, just to continue to farm up the Naga.
Dire's top tower is
need
being
a different
attacked.
option. They can try and have another play at mid, because they know there's no one inside the EG jungle. Gutter's just going to break his smoke, and they'll just start pushing the lane now. Smoke gate failed.
Top tower is under
back to the farm. And Aggressive still got so much of that. He's starting up on his Diffuser Blade right now. And AUI he's not going to contest the Phantom Lancer. And PL can just keep moving everywhere. He's got these BTs, so he pushes aggressively as he wants to. And he's actually joined the rest of his teammates.
He's managed to catch up to Sumail. He was 1,000 behind, if you remember.
He's now ahead.
He's actually ahead. So
Dire's middle tower
they are finding
attacked.
the farm that they want on the PL, but he's the only one.
Storm Spirit, long jump on bottom. They're going in for the Clockwork, but then you've also got that Embrace. It's the Storm Spirit that's being locked up by the Curse and Laguna Blade. And this is the peril you have as a Storm Spirit, where CDEC, they've got the control and the burst damage to kill him off very quickly. And that's also Bloodstone charges lost. He's down to 6 now after the initial gain.
Who ate a mango?
It was the Gyro.
All right.
I think he's freeing up a spot. Yeah, we've got a Salve coming in and also the Sanj.
Dire's top tower is being
still
attacked.
has a slot. Oh well. Guess he was hungry. So this Ancient Stack is probably going to be, I don't know if Fear wants to go for it again while it's a single, or if they're looking for any sort of play in mid. But right now, EG are being a little bit scared here with CDEC inside their jungle.
Radiant's bottom
as a
tower
result, just
under
going to
fire.
pressure out this bottom tier 2 a little bit with the remainder of their Dragon Form on Cheeky. And just that one kill on Storm Spirit is actually really important. It's their first kill on the board, which is something for a little bit of momentum and just to keep the morale high. But more than anything, he is the hero they want to shut down. Even if Fear gets really good farm on the Gyrocopter, I think with this amount of single target burst that they have, especially looking at Alina, who will probably transition into an Aghanim somewhere down the line, they might be able to take the fight to him. Oh,
mid lane, Winter Wyvern embracing himself for now, but there's no regeneration. That Ice Blast, is it going to be enough to kill him off? No, it will not. So the Winter Wyvern will not shatter.
What an aggressive play, though, for Sumail to just jump into the tower like that with an Ice Blast. If there was a counterplay available there from, say, a Dragon Knight or a Clockwork, that could have gone very wrong. I don't know what heroes they had seen on the map. If they know the positioning, they can, of course, just go for it just to put some pressure.
Have we even seen that Blink Dagger from the Dragon Knight
Dire's top tower is being attacked.
Because normally we look for that, like that Blink to Dragon form into Dragon Tail stun. And you catch out most heroes a long, long way out.
Dire's top
He's using
tower
it
is
to farm
under
right
siege.
Increasing his
Radiant's
movement
middle tower is
by a
taking
bit,
damage.
Of course. But yeah, it hasn't been that
Dire's
effective
top
just yet.
tower is being attacked.
Ice Blast on bottom. He actually managed to hit aggressive with this. He already doppelganged away aggressive. And now Dragon Knight. There's that move. Sumail. Not a hell of a lot of mana, but he's got himself a haste rune. The Light Strike Array not going to connect either. If it did, they may have had enough time to attack into him. But Laguna Blade to finish the job.
And this is when aggressive has to start leveling up Doppelganger, which it looks like he is doing. Probably put the second skill point in at level 12. And
thank you.
with the way these fights are going, he needs
Dire's
the lower
middle
cooldown.
tower is
It is
being
really,
attacked.
really important.
He's almost got that Diffuser Blade done. At the same time, the T1 tower was taken on top lane. PPD
Dire's
just soaking
middle
up the
tower
experience there
taking
now.
damage.
A lot of being on the opposite side of the map when you play the Ancient Apparition. Gives you that bigger radius for the ultimate. Considering CDEC can be pretty spaced out with their lineup. They need to be able to have that big range. But man, it really feels like though, CDEC, like there's no real advantage here. The experience is a little bit going the way of EG. There's nothing in the gold. But it's only like 4K. Oh, that's real trouble right now for Garda. The stun's gonna miss. He could turn around and try and nuke on Sumail, but it's not gonna be any good. Sumail will bottle back up again. So they find a pick off. It's over on the support Lina. But EG still are not addressing the major issue, which is this Phantom Lancer. An under 20-minute BT drum diffuser blade up for aggressive. Okay, that happened. Blink, Echo Slam, and Call Down. And the Winter Wyvern just explodes.
Dire's
And
middle
that's also going
tower
to
is
be
being
a
attacked.
tier 1 tower in the mid.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Yeah, they probably have the confidence to go for it. If Fear gets jumped here, they can just stomp. They scout
Dire's
the
middle
ults,
tower
they know it's
taking
clear.
damage.
Easy
We'll go
tier
for
1.
Fear.
Dire's
Very
middle
easy tier
tower
one.
has fallen.
We talk about all the farm over on aggressive, but when you've got also this Gyrocopter walking around with SMY, Helm of the Dom, Phil Treads and Aquila, he's definitely ready to fight. Sumail's actually had enough of CDEC to sitting back. Takes up a little bit of the farm with the Dire Jungle and then just jumps down to bottom lane. The Clockwork's around here, but CDEC are just trying to avoid all fights until probably this moment when they smoke up as 3. Dragon form is up. So is Laguna Blade. They could attempt to go in for Roshan, but without the Medallion of Courage, it's going to be a very, very long time. So instead, they try and kill up Sumail. The Observer Ward's watching him closely. They'll see him put down a Remnant, and they're already gone into the DK Dragon form. So he'll be able to instantly blink, stun, Garda needs his Light Strike Array to connect, and they'll use the curse with Laguna Blade. Sumail! Almost able to jump. The animation was not the Universe right in the back of Garda. You've got the cooldown as well. This will instantly kill off the Lina. But now the Hawk shot as well. XD's looking for a good line, and he completely walks it off to the side. Universe will get the stun, but the DK's doing a lot more work, especially when the Splinter arrives in from Q. 2 heroes down for EG, and this tier 2 tower starting to get chipped away. Aggressive also BT'd himself down here, so they got more pressure.
There was no TP on
Radiant's
AUI.
bottom tower under
I think
fire.
he might have used it to go top to farm, but this is the hero for EG. In case he didn't have one, you absolutely want to have a TP on the Naga to go and save a situation
Radiant's
like that.
bottom tower is being attacked.
They might have figured when Sumail gets jumped that they couldn't have saved him, but I think with a TP instant song there, they probably keep him alive.
There's a couple of things which are falling apart. Sumail just tried to TP to the tier 1 tower and accidentally cancel his TP. So he's ball lightning out, running up the Wyvern. I suppose this might make up for it, killing off the Winter Wyvern on the hillside. But Wyvern did get the Observer Ward down as he was dying. This would be very difficult for EG to know about. But more and more runes now. A haste rune in for Sumail. And the Observer Ward was watching Shiki moving around inside the Dire jungle. Actually throwing up the ulti. That's only going to hit the creep wave though. Both Garda as well as Shiki have fallen back behind their tier 2 tower.
He's just using it to scout with as well. Gets a lot of vision. Doesn't really find anyone, but not finding anyone is also information, of course. Then they know there's no one in the neighborhood right there. And the farming just continues in fear. You know, this is kind of starting to remind me of, you know, Thor Open in the day. With
No,
like
not the Sven era. We do not want to go back to the Sven era.
Teams were just stacking their Ancients and just farming the Ancients for 30 minutes, and then whoever had Sven won. So
no Tidehunter era. That was... It's good times, man.
Yeah.
Good times.
Things have changed a little bit since then. But
they have.
That was...
EG,
that was the era.
They've at least changed the tempo. We're going to haste through and already triggered over on Storm Spirit, but it's the smoke movement coming out with the rest of EG. CDEC is not in a bad position for this. They're just around the corner, including Hookshot. So Garda, as well as Shiki, they're not liking where they are, and actually Shiki just leaves Garda for dead. He blinks himself away to safety. Sticky Matt turning as Garda with a hookshot in. He gets Laguna Blade over on Sumail, and Sumail, he's practically out of mana. The Ice Blast, however, coming in on the top of the Dragon Knight with the Echo Slam control. It should be enough. Sumail, the curse is on him. Universe actually turned around to try and kill off his own teammate, as Universe actually going to get a double kill. He still didn't kill his teammate for Clockwork. The Embrace is there, and the Vision Control, a triple kill for Universe. But now we see Aggressive coming online. The Phantom Lancer, insanely difficult to deal with. He's going to doppelganger himself in to find PPD. He'll pick up the kill, and it'll be a 2-for-3 trade-off, and the big one for EG. Losing the Storm Spirit, now down to 4 Bloodstone charges on Sumail.
This is still a very even game, but EG do manage to come out of that 1 kill ahead. Still with Sumail on the sidelines, Aggressive should be able to increase his gap down to him, but of course Fear is still finding his own. And these fights closing in on a BKB. He's actually very, very close to it, just a few hundred away on the gyro.
So at least he won't have his mana burnt out.
He won't have his mana burnt, and the only real counter CDEC has is the Winter's Curse. Yes, they also have Hookshot, but someone has to kill Fear during the BKB. And a lot of PL's damage right now is coming from the feedback from the Fusel Blade. Oh, what a great doppelganger there. What a great.
Unfortunately for Universe, when he jumps in, he doesn't have the Echo Slam, and that's the insta-stun required. So there was time for Aggressive to not only see it, respond to it. Doppelganger's away, BT's up to the top lane, instantly starts split push, while the rest of CDEC, they start attacking into the tier 1 tower. And while that BKB might be nice over on Fear, a concern which should be there for Evil Geniuses is the fact they don't really have enough damage to kill off this Phantom Lancer quick enough that their supports will survive. And maybe that's a different place we should be looking at it. The Storm Spirit's going to get an Orchid, that's going to be terrific, but this mana style is getting very close to completion for Aggressive. So there's no control from the Storm on that front. A lot of it relies on basically Universe hitting the mark.
Yeah. They only really have one carry who's good against the PL when he has the Manta. So that is definitely true. It's not the worst matchup we've seen PL in. We've seen it winning against Gyro a couple of times in this tournament, and the time it gets scary is when you're playing against Ember and Gyro or something like that. Then it can be really, really tricky, but it's definitely possible to have a major
Dragon
impact
Form,
here.
he's coming after PPD. Blink, stun, breathe, fire. A quick glance, but the Fidge's going to buy a little bit of space here for PPD to at least get the ulti off. Universe wants to walk in.
Dire's middle
Actually got
tower
Blink
taking
and Echo
damage.
Slam available.
Radiant's
With the
top
BKB up
tower
from
is under
Dragon Knight, there's very
siege.
little reason to use it. So with Storm Spirit having this fresh Orchid,
Dire's
catch
middle tower is being
CDEC
attacked.
by surprise. They throw out more Lancers, just keeping vision on Fear. They jump in. There's your Curse Sumail going in deep over on Wyvern. He's already used his ability, but here comes your call down. Dragon Knight going for the extra stun. They're keeping Universe out. No Echo Slam moving back. It's actually going to push it back out with the coach. Universe will drop, and maybe even one after. It's going to be a double kill for Sumail. The Song of the Siren allowing EG to reset Sumail, not with a great amount of mana, but bought time for the Orca to come back off cooldown. They can control the clockwork. He will take the fall, but Aggressive is on the run. The PL will still survive, and will probably TP bottom to take up all the money there.
Sumail is causing them so much trouble. He jumps in on the Wyvern, it forces out a cape, and then they just go on to the Lina as well. Never got her Laguna Blade off. Just gets completely shut down in that fight. And you just know the whole time that if things aren't going the way EG are planning, they can just Song of the Siren like they did toward the end of that fight and just set up and finish it off. So they read the fight very well, that they were ahead the whole time. And they do get the clearly better exchange there, as Fear once again survives the fight, gets even more. He still hasn't died this game.
So big for him, being 5-0-5 on the KDA. But I'm also looking down towards a PL. He's 2-0-2. And continues to add this split push pressure, which EG, they've got some mail to help deal with that. But again, we go back over what we talked about. There's no control and aggressive that Samel can use. He definitely causes havoc with the rest of CDEC. But this PL will continue just to BT split push this game out. Get more and more money. And that, for me, is still the biggest problem for Evil Geniuses. Where do you go with this? Fear needs to have that damage-dealing item. But in order to do so, he's got to drop either his TP scroll or sell the Ring of Aquila. And Samel, blink, Dragon Tail stun. Garda's going to be here with the hookshot as well. Laguna fights Samel. The Cogs burn bought them a little bit of extra time. And with Samel down and no buyback, Roshan is a very, very juicy target here for CDEC.
EG are going to know they're going for it, though. First of all, it would be pretty obvious from the lane situation, but they also have a good ward around the river area to see. And CDEC are moving in there now. I don't think EG are interested in contesting this 4-on-5, but maybe they can delay it long enough for it to be a 5-on-5 if they Ice Blast and Fissure properly. There is no hook shot.
They're all together. PPD, here comes the Ice Blast, ready for the dog! In from Universe! It's a disaster! CDEC! They're gonna get wiped from the face of the earth, apart from aggressive. He'll jump out, but the wombo combo perfectly hits from Evil Geniuses, and now they will take Roshan. Samel is back, they'll get the Aegis to the Immortal.
Yeah, they don't even need to buy time. When they have superior vision and CDEC have no idea it's coming. Universe was so convinced, they're so sure they're in there because of the vision showing them moving down in that direction, that he just blindly blinked Echo Slams, knowing that he should, oh, actually not blindly, they already put down an Ice Vortex first, actually, so they did know for sure they were there. But even without the Ice Vortex, I think he still would have gone for it, because the only alternative is that CDEC move toward the Roche Pit, and they actually don't go for it, baiting, expecting that EG want to check it 4-on-5, which would be very unlikely. And then just going for it instead, they just get being clumped up, get completely obliterated by the Echo Slam Ice Blast.
It's at this point I would also ask the question, where were your obs, where was CDEC's vision coming into that fight?
Going into Roshan blindly like that against a Shaker, Naga, and AA lineup is very, very risky indeed. They might just be feeling the pressure that they have to get something done with every single major kill they find, but that was not the play. Roshan without vision is not good. The
only upside for him was the fact that Aggressive was able to survive. So once again, he's not giving up much of this farm, but we're still looking at the Gyrocopter now being just under 900 gold away from completing up the full butterfly. So he's looking fantastic, that's Fear. AUI was able to not only complete up the mech, but he's also got the Medallion of Courage, so that Solar Crest could be coming up a lot sooner as well. The Earthshaker was able to afford up an entire Glimmer Cave, and it looks like a Lincoln Sphere build coming in for Samel, who's already got the Perseverance. Even PPD has his own Glimmer Cave to get in and out of trouble. EG have every item that they really need at this point of the game. And CDEC, they need one hell of a fight to repair this damage of golden experience and keep themselves in TI5. They're the ones who are playing from a game down. They're the ones with all the pressure on them.
And once Samel gets this Lincoln Sphere, the Dragon Knight Blink Dragon Tail is not going to have any effect. He's either going to block that or, say, a Winter's Curse. Pretty likely. Of course, there are other single target spells that can break the Lincolns, but I think it's really good for him in this game. It's mainly just the Dragon Knight he's getting it against too. Feels safer around the map, and pretty good chance he can use it twice in the fight as well. Man, that Roshan.
It's going to be one of those moments. EG could have actually won TI5 with just that moment. That's how important that dunk was. And Evil Geniuses, all they gotta do is just roll through the motions and
is being attacked.
Like still be very mindful about the split push, because CDEC, if they want to, they can still keep dodging. Like Roshan was one of those special moments where EG knew where CDEC was going to, so you were able to fight them there. But this push coming into the tier 1 tower, there's no reason to take a 5v5 fight. You can just TP aggressive to the top lane, keep the pressure in, and you'll take the tier 1 tower, yes, EG, but either you take the tier 2 tower and lose your own tier 2 tower, and you find these trade-off games.
Under fire.
And for now, they're just getting one for free here.
Yep.
This is a
Dire's
easy tier 1.
tower is fallen.
And with Fear with the Butterfly and Sumail with the Aegis, they're definitely not scared of a team fight. They have all their abilities off cooldown again, apart from Ice Blast coming up at 20.
CDEC might be happy to fight this.
I don't think they want to at all.
It's just because the double damage rune that's over on the Dragon Knight.
Dire's
so
bottom tower
if EG forces further into the tier 3 tower,
is in pieces.
Then CDEC will be happy to take the engagement.
Radiant's middle
On the other hand, they would love to wait until
damage.
Sheik is level 16. He's 100 XP away. If he has to use Dragon Form now, that's pretty annoying for him.
So you really want to have that Frost Dragon. And he's got no creep waves, though. And Sumail's already moved up to the top lane. There's a lot of PLs down here, but he'll use as much burst damage as he can with the Remnants to get rid of it. There's that full Solar Crest now up for AUI. And Lina is working on the Aghanim Scepter, but she had to go for the 4-star to start with. So
I can't help but feel like AUI is playing techies, you know? It's like, he has 1 assist in 34 minutes in an 18-minute game. He's just been like, he's been playing on his own, like pushing out lanes, just casually farming, getting toward the key items with both the mech and the Solar Crest, while the others have just been running around finding these kills. And he's had a really big impact, because it's been difficult for CDEC to push the towers when the Naga has always been in place to defend. So it looks like he hasn't done anything when you look at the kill death assist, but it's not true. It's just, it's funny to observe how little kill participation he has had in this game.
If only the Song of the Siren did some level of damage.
Yeah.
Then you have yourself some assists.
Then you'd have Naga picked in the first phase of every game. Oh, wait.
Snap. Tier 2 tower is going to be dropping on the top lane for CDEC. This is their last out of tower.
Dire's top tower
now
is
going down.
destroyed.
An evil genius is
Radiant's bottom tower
inching
under fire.
closer to victory if they can make it. But the TPs are coming back, and CDEC are ready to fight this one.
Flares here.
Hookshot's up and running.
Radiant's bottom tower
He's got that
is
Dragon Knight
demolished.
triggering the double damage rune now. I'm also watching PL with a large amount of money. In fact, he's just spending a little bit more of it. He just put a heart recipe. It's over on the courier. If he can find another 800 gold on the map, that's the full heart in for the Phantom Lancer. But at the same time as this is happening, I'm watching Fear moving to the secret shop, and he'll pick up, actually, he's going a defensive item. He's building into the Satanic straight away before he builds into the Monkey King bar.
Zap! It's pretty sustainable in fights. I think EG feel like they don't need damage right now, and even if they see the heart on PL, they still have a lot of ways to deal with it. They have Echo Slam, Ice Blast is pretty good. The spell damage of Flat Cannon and Call Down and everything, or well, the physical damage of Flat Down and spell Flat Down, whatever. They have a lot, okay? They have a lot of AoE damage to still kill the illusions off, so I don't think an MKB or something like that is necessary yet for Fear. I think he wants to wait with it until, when he sees the heart, he probably knows, okay, Aggressive's next item is going to be a butter. And that's when he wants to counter-itemize with the MKB, and they should be done at around the same time. MKB being the slightly cheaper item.
Here we go again.
Regeneration.
5-man smoke by CDEC. They'll look for the opening on EG. Now, Sumail's not in the perfect position for this. He is going to see an Invis rune and potentially going to jump down and grab it. And now they can curse him up. Link is Fear, though. It triggers. That wasn't the curse from Q, however. But the PL just runs himself down to EG, taking out a lot of Fear's mana. Now, remember, Aggressive does have the full heart for this fight. Last Record Race going to fall down. Universe! Big jump in to get the curse off. There's a control from Universe and Sumail. And the hook shot in as well from AC. He's going to split the fight up with Fear, finding the damage. Sumail, Aggressive, being put under in the cold embrace. We back up in a moment. Doppelganger, 1 second, but Song of the Siren. They need Aggressive to die instantly before he's able to Doppelganger. Shiki as well. There's your Doppelganger. Shiki has 1 chance to survive a little bit longer. We're splitting up the fight, but there goes your PL. Dragon Knight, the cold feet, and the urn charge. They're both taking him out, and the cogs will push back. He's got enough life to survive. They actually repair it with another urn charge. And AUI, yeah, he's not going to keep up with the Dragon. There's Clockwork. Oh, the cancelling of TP. Vortexing XD back in. A 3-for-1 trade-off. Dragon Knight lucky to survive, and he can't even get back. His TP is on cooldown. There's 32 seconds before the DK can TP back to base. He could lose his entire racks in that time.
Dire's bottom tower
he tried
is
to TP
being
out
attacked.
earlier. This should actually be a lane. I don't know if EG are aware of this, so they might start moving back if they feel any bit of pressure, but Fear doesn't care right now. He is definitely up front.
Now, Samael going in deep, chasing after Q. They just need a couple of kills to be TI5 champions. With the Wyvern, he down for the count. Fear, fully wicked sick. They're going to bring in the Titanic as well for Fear while this push continues. As the tier 3 tower drops DK, only now is he TPing back, and he's still going to regenerate. The melee racks will drop. EG, how much respect do you give? The PL is up in 7 seconds. They're going to rotate themselves over to the tier 3 tower. They do not want to overstay their welcome here, but they may just have the confidence to keep on going with that fresh Titanic. Shiki Dragon form up, gets us an over on Fear. They're moving forward with a hook shot in the eye. Slap! Perfect on CDEC. They keep the battle going. Samael might be low on mana. We need to keep controlling Fear CDC if they want to try and win this game. But Fear finds more. He's actually being trapped up the curse, holding him here for now. DK will bite back and they're dragging back the clockwork with a Vengeance Starter. CDEC are running out of heroes, aggressive, wants to come out and find some kind of collateral kills. But EG are turning tail and running for now. Universe is ready to turn. He's got Echo Slam up. He just needs his swing. They're going to come back up. Cooldown aggressive. The cooldown. The perfect position. There's your Echo Slam. Aggressive. Locked in position right now. He got embraced up by the Winter Wyvern, but Fear moving forward as well. The DK about to drop. Aggressive. The Soul Survivor. CDEC. It looks troublesome. It looks really, really bad for them. Aggressive on the run. Universe right behind him. They keep running out, but GG well played. EG are your TI5 champions. Here in Key Arena, they have managed to do it. Third place in 2014. It looked rough dropping down the lower bracket. They had to play the best of 3 and the best of 5 today. But they have persevered. And they will claim the Aegis of the Immortal. They are the champions here in front of their home crowd. CDEC